So good evening to you all. We are back now. This is science. Science, that. So let's talk about science. Last time we only that shadows, and so we discussed objects, we discussed opaque objects, we discussed transparent objects, we discussed translucent objects, and so we said opaque objects are objects that don't allow any light to pass through them, and so we said translucent, for them they allow part of light to pass through them, and so we said even transparent, these ones allow all the light to pass through them. So we say that when light meets an opaque object, what you get is a what? A shadow. And we say a shadow. We said what is a shadow? A shadow is a region of darkness formed when light is obstructed by an opaque object. When light is blocked by an opaque object, what we get is called a what? A shadow. We have two forms types of shadows. You have the umbra and the penumbra. Whereby the umbra is the darkest part of the shadow and the penumbra is the lighter part of the what? The shadow. Now let's talk about what they call natural shadows. Eclipses. Eclipse. Eclipse. What? Eclipse. What? Eclipse. What's an eclipse? Before we even discuss an eclipse, we know that the earth rotates. Earth to you see it all. Also, remember in your essence, what causes day and night? When the earth rotates on the axis. And also, at earth, a lot of access here weight. Are you getting me? Even the moons move, not so. But the sun is always static. The sun cannot move. Our sun is always here. This is our sun. Are you getting me? This is the earth. Sorry. The earth also. No more even moon is also rotates. Yes, and we have very many moons. Even the moon can rotate also. So when the moon is rotating, sometimes the moon can come in between. But each time so we are blocked by the moon. Are you getting me? We are not blocked by the earth. So those are what they're going to look at. So by the eclipses. 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 So what is an eclipse? What is an eclipse? An eclipse is a natural shadow formed when light from the sun is obstructed by either the moon or the earth. So an eclipse is a natural shadow. Natural shadow formed when light from the what? From the sun is obstructed by either the what? The moon or the what? Or the earth. So, an eclipse. So an eclipse is a natural shadow formed when light from the sun is obstructed by either the moon or the earth. It is a natural shadow. It is a natural what? Is it continuing? Yes, quarter. So, it's a natural shadow. Can you see me? It's a natural shadow formed when light from the sun can be obstructed by either the moon or the earth. Eclipses. So two types of eclipse. Have the solar eclipse. The solar, you say solar eclipse. So solar eclipse, eclipse of the what? Of the sun. Solar eclipse. And the lunar eclipse of the what? Of the moon. Of the solar eclipse, or the eclipse of the sun, and the lunar eclipse, eclipse of the moon. So let's talk about the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse. What's the solar eclipse? The solar eclipse is a natural shadow. You can go to the you can say is an eclipse. Is an eclipse formed when light from the what? from the sun is what? Is obstructed by the what?
The moon.
By the moon. And the what?
The shadow.
And the shadow.
Falls
And the shadow falls on the what?
the earth.
On the earth. So enjoy a solar eclipse. So what is a solar eclipse? A solar eclipse is the type of eclipse formed when light from the sun is obstructed by the moon and the shadow falls on the what? On the earth. And the shadow falls on the earth. So you write solar eclipse. A solar eclipse. So a solar eclipse. So you write solar eclipse. So let me look at the illustration. So if this is the sun, and so are you getting me? This is the moon. The moon. Now what? The earth. Are you getting me? So light from the sun, is going to be obstructed. Is obstructed. Are you getting me? The light is going to be obstructed. Mwekitanga kuva kumusana kisikirizibwa omuki omwezi kitegeeza kisikirize kigwa ku nsi. So light from the sun is obstructed by the moon and the shadow falls on the what? On the earth. Kibayita solar eclipse. Era shadow genda kuziraba. Kibayita darkest part of the shadow. Kibayita ambula. And the light part of the shadow kibayita penamula. So enjoy solar eclipse. So how is it formed? A solar eclipse is formed when light from the sun is obstructed by the moon and the shadow falls on the earth. So people around here are going to be what they call total darkness. Total darkness. And these ones are going to be in partial, partial deafness. The ear disorder formed was caused when what? When wax accumulates in your ear. So you write partial what? Deafness. So you write solar eclipse. And you write solar eclipse. So let's look at the so-called lunar. The opposite of solar is what? Lunar. But the lunar eclipse. What is this one? A lunar eclipse is an eclipse formed when what? When light from where?
From the sun.
From the sun is what? Is obstructed by the what?
By the earth.
By the earth. By the earth. And the what?
The shadow.
And the shadow falls on the what? On the what? On the moon. It's a lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse is an eclipse formed when light from the sun is obstructed by the earth and the shadow falls. When the light from the sun is going to be now this time round, it's not obstructed by the moon as the solar eclipse. For this time round, it is obstructed by the what? By the earth. Now the earth is in between by the earth, and the shadow falls on the what? On the moon, like this. I think here the moon is going to be what they call total darkness. Are you see? The whole moon is covered by total darkness. This is what they call the umbra. The umbra. Maybe the penumbra. The penumbra. Maybe penumbra. So this part here, penumbra. So these are the eclipses. One of them appeared in Uganda. Even the president went there. It was in which one? Oh, in the north around there. So those are eclipses. They are tourism attraction. They are tourists. These ones here. So like eclipses. They are natural shadows formed when light from the sun is obstructed by either the moon or the earth. You get those eclipses. The solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse. How many minutes have we used so far?
9.
Eh? Still have 90?
9.
Just 9. So let us continue. So from there, let us look at another thing called the second property. The second property of light called what? Light can be reflected. Light can be reflected. Light can be reflected. So you ekigambo ekipya kye bayita reflection. Can you all say reflection? What? Reflection. So what is reflection, brother? To recall? What is reflection? What is that reflection? Is the bouncing of light rays of surfaces. Is the bouncing of light rays of surfaces. To write a reflection. So reflection is the bouncing of light rays of surfaces. So light ray comes. Are you getting me? It hits. This is surface. It hits and it bounces. To write a reflection. Don't have a ball. The ball type comes back. It hits. It comes back like that. To write a reflection. The bouncing of light rays of surfaces. The bouncing of light rays of the types of reflection. You have the types of what they call it, so-called what? Of the regular, and the what? Irregular. So we have two types of reflection. We have the regular reflection and the so-called irregular reflection. Let's talk about the so-called irregular. Which is a regular reflection. What is a regular reflection? A regular reflection is the type of reflection that occurs on a smooth and highly polished surface. Regular reflection. Regular reflection is the type of reflection that occurs on a smooth and highly polished surface. It occurs on a smooth and highly polished surface. That surface looks like that. So light rays come up. Put another one here. Are you getting me? So that's what they call a regular reflection. When a parallel beam of light hits it, it goes back as a parallel beam of light. Light rays are parallel, regular reflection. So a regular reflection is the type of reflection that occurs on a smooth and highly polished surface. An example is a plain what? Plain mirrors. In the rooms in a saloon, those ones produce a regular reflection. Why? They are smooth and highly what? Polished. So let's do what they call irregular reflection. Irregular reflection. Let's go to irregular. Sometimes also we can diffuse. The opposite of this one. What is irregular reflection? Irregular reflection is the type of reflection that occurs on a rough and unpolished surface. Is the type of reflection that occurs on a rough and unpolished surface. Irregular reflection. The type of reflection that occurs on a rough. The surface is rough and what? Polished. So the type of reflection that occurs on a rough and unpolished surface, irregular reflection. This is how we represent a rough surface, like this. That surface is a reflecting surface which is rough. It is rough also. So light rays come when they are parallel like these ones. When they come and they are parallel like that, are you getting me? Another one can go like that, another one can be like that. So they are reflected back in a very flat manner, in a zigzag manner. Are you getting me? Eh? Are you getting me? So chebaita irregular. A wall, soil down, any place where I cannot see yourself from. So those are types of reflection. I've said reflection is the bouncing off like face of surfaces. We have two types of reflection. We have the regular reflection and the irregular reflection. So what's regular? This one occurs on a smooth and highly polished surface, but diffuse occurs on a rough and unpolished surface. So from there, let's just match the so-called laws. What? Amateka. The laws of reflection. You used to recall them? We started. You used to recall the laws of reflection. The laws of reflection. The laws. What are the laws of reflection? And the laws. Laws of reflection. Number one, the incident rate. The incident rate. The incident rate. Comma. The what? The normal. And the reflected ray.
At the point of incidence.
Ray. At the point
of incidence.
of what? Of incidence. All right.
The same plane.
In the same plane. That's rule number one. The incident ray, the normal, and the reflected ray at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. Also, incident ray, normal ray, if this is the reflecting surface, are you getting me? We have a ray which comes, a ray, that ray which hits the reflecting surface. Incident what? Incident ray. We have a line. Please, this is not a ray. This is just called the normal. And normal, what's a normal? A normal is any plane which makes 90 degrees with another plane. Or with any surface. For example, if you have a circle and there's a line which makes 90 degrees with this circle, a ray is a normal. In mathematics, it's a normal. So it's a normal ray. It's not a ray, but it's a normal, just a mere line. So the incident ray, and what is that normal, and this which goes back, reflected ray. So and your point is point of incidence. It is that point of incidence. So the incident ray, the normal, and the reflected ray at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. The incident ray, the normal, and the reflected ray at the point of incidence all lie in the same what? Plane. Also, don't forget the angle of the incident ray makes the angle. Angle what? Angle what? The angle of incidence. What are we talking about? Angle of what? Reflection. We discussed that. Yeah, we discussed that. But those who have never discussed it, people from other schools, don't forget, that's how they say. That which is coming, Bajita, incident ray, and Bajita, normal, and Bajita, reflected ray. So, all these ones lie in the same what? Plane. Angle, incident ray, Jekola and normal, Bajita, angle of incidence. Angle, reflected ray, Jekola and normal, Bajita, angle of reflection. So the incident ray, the normal, and the reflected ray at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. So the second law, the angle of what? Incidence is what? Is equal to the angle of what? Reflection. So that is another law. The second law. The angle of incidence, angle is what's called Zerikana. What's called Zerikana. So those are the laws of reflection. The angle of incidence and the angle of reflection are equal. The incident ray is the normal and the reflected ray at the point of incidence all lie in the same what? Plane. The same one? Plane. The same what? Plane. So that is it. So let us look at some of the applications, some of the questions here. Some of the questions here. source. Below is the diagram. Below is the diagram. Name OC, OB, and OA. Then you name OC. How do you call OC? That's the what? The incident ray. How do you call this one? OB. The what? The normal. How do you call this one? The what? The reflected what? The ray. Yeah, that is it. In here, you can even tell us to, let me call this angle I, this angle what? Angle I, right? Find the angle of incidence. Find I, find what? I. This is math which you study. Are you getting it? But guys, in normal, if we're 91 degrees with this plane, also. So these two angles add up 91 degrees. So come out can be I plus 30 degrees equals 91 degrees. So I plus 30 degrees minus 30 degrees equals 91 degrees minus 30 degrees. Related what? So our I is going to be what? 60 degrees. So the angle of incidence is equal to 60 degrees. But find the angle of reflection. The angle of reflection is 60 degrees. The reason being the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of what? Reflection. The angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. So that is how they do that one. Also, so that is just reflection. We shall discuss more about reflection. I think let us stop here for today. Have a blessed day. I love you so much. This is St. Augustine Primary School. Feel at home. We love you. Come and register with us. Come and register with us. Bye-bye.